Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. Welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar is Surety Basics for Aerial Applicators. We won't be taking questions during the webinar, so if you have questions, feel free to email them to myself or give us a call. You should be receiving some information after the webinar with email so you can get a hold of me. My name is John, and I'll be walking you through today's webinar. So let's get started. One thing we want to look at is, as we start out, we're going to start out with, we're going to do looking at some of the layers. We're going to, throughout the webinar, we're also going to look at search real quick, panning, zooming, navigating the map, of course, and then drawing, selecting and drawing. Also then we'll take a look at using one of the reports or creating your maps. So let's start with searching. Over on the right, you'll see two buttons. You'll have your layers, which are the layers on the map, and that's where you can control those. We have a whole host that you can control. You can turn these off and on by just clicking the icon or clicking the box next to the layer that you want to turn off and on. Some of these layers, as you zoom in, will then turn on and display. So as you get closer, certain layers will turn on. Again, you can you can turn layers off and on just by clicking the little box next to them. There are some sub-menus, so if you see any little plus beside it, there are some sub-layers that you can look at also. As we move up, one other layer to look at real quickly before we move on is your Ortho Photo. Depending on what state you are in, that would determine what date is the most current, but we also have older dates available, but it should default to your most current date. Under the boundaries, of course, the yellow lines in the mapping system are FSA field boundaries from 2008. That's the latest that we have available for those areas. We'll show you how to use those and also edit those. So in some cases, the boundaries haven't changed much and they're still good boundaries. You just maybe need to tweak them a little bit, but we'll show you how to do that. And then, of course, how to draw a boundary and take advantage of that. Under search, we have several search options. This is a good way to find your location. Of course, a lot of you once you've defined your area, you can kind of zoom in and out real quick to find where you need to be. But if you need having trouble finding something, you have illegal, you could type in illegal, so you can basically you pick your state, whichever state you're in, and then you would enter your section, your township. Now you make sure your township direction is set correctly to your north or south, and then your range. And then either if it's northwest or east, make sure you change that. And then just hit locate. It will then zoom to that section for you. If you have a lat long for a field, you can enter the lat long here. Several ways of entering lat long. You can enter it as decimal degrees, decimal minutes, or decimal seconds. But both latitude and longitude will need to be the same format. So if you enter latitude as decimal seconds, you also have to enter longitude decimal seconds. Let's go ahead. So if you want to enter as decimal seconds, you would put a space between degrees minutes, and seconds. And you use a decimal on the seconds, but then your longitude will have to be the same. And then you can zoom to that area. If it was decimal minutes, you put the decimal after that. Now, as you notice, I didn't put a negative sign. Longitude is negative in North America, but we recognize that you're only in North America, so that you won't have to enter a negative sign. Now, you notice the longitude for the mapping system is lower left, and if you need to set that to decimal degrees or decimal minutes, we'll take a look at that. But so once you type your lat long, you just locate and it'll zoom to that area. If you want to put a symbol in the center of that, you can. Here, well, symbol will stay on until you uncheck that. You can also we'll go by township name. So if you're familiar with a township name, you can enter a township name. Start typing a township name here, and it'll start giving you a list of what's available. Then enter the section and zoom to that section. You can also zoom by an address. You can zoom to a city. You can zoom to a street. And you also can zoom to a county under the address. It's a good way of searching quickly and finding where you need to be. We had mentioned that lat long, which may be important to you. So we'll display lat long in decimal degrees here, but you can change that. So if you go up to Tools, Options page, you can set latitude longitude display right here. So if you can decimal degrees, or you can do decimal minutes, decimal seconds, and then you would just hit save and clear out the field. So you can see now that we have set those. But on the search, it doesn't matter what you enter. So whatever your preference is for that. So that's the search capabilities and layers. Let's look at navigation on the map screen itself. Several ways you can navigate. One is zoom in. So you highlight zoom in. The thing happens when you click that. So what it is based on a mouse click. When you have zoom in selected and you click left click on your mouse, it'll zoom in a certain level. Once you reach section square mile by 1 square mile, 1 mile by 1 mile square, it'll automatically default to the select button. Go back to zoom in if you want to get in closer. You can also use your scroll wheel on your mouse if your mouse has a scroll wheel, or the capability on a touchpad, such as pinching and expanding to zoom in and out, and also on tablets. You can use the finger gestures to zoom in and out. And zoom in. Another nice feature, if you're trying to get your map centered real easy, you can also, so if you, a lot of cases when we zoom in, it'll zoom to the section, or let's go search. We'll find our section, and that's where it stays. But you can get a little closer, because on your maps it'll print. So if you do an Fsa map, for example, of that area or the field of interest, it'll show you the latitude, longitude at that map center. If you want that latitude, longitude based on the center of a field, for example, you can place that field, of course, by panning and grabbing it and put it in the center. The pan, again, when you hit plan, you left click hold and you can drag the map in any direction. That'd be one way of doing that. And then you have the field in the center. And you have lat long would be based approximately on the center of the map. Also, you can use a zoom in tool and you can draw a box on your field. So if you want to a closer look, maybe when you go and create your form, you may want closer. But if you want a closer map, you can select the zoom in, and then left click and hold. It'll draw a box, and it'll zoom to the extent of that box, so you can zoom in on a field a little bit closer if you want to get a better picture of that field. And then the lat long would be in the center here, so that it could be an option depending on how you want to create your maps. But you don't have to leave it at the section level or leave it at the section level here to do your maps. You can zoom in closer too. So let's zoom out is just you click zoom out and it'll zoom out. So that's all that's to that. And again, you can use your scroll wheel or finger gestures on touchpads and tablets to zoom in and out also. The other thing is full view. Full view is based on, in most cases, when the full view default is in Surety is the continental United States. If you wish to set a area such as your territory, and that's when you hit full view, it'll zoom to the extent of your territory. You don't want it to go any further than that. You would just zoom to the area to an extent that you want. So if I want this as my extent, full view, then I would zoom to that area, then go up Tools, Options, Option Page, and click Set Current View. And well, that'll allow you to now, if you zoom in, when you log in, it'll zoom directly to that extent. If you zoom in and you want to quickly get to your extent real quick, you can just hit full view and it'll zoom to your extent. Previous view is kind of a history. It's a nice feature, especially if you're drawing a field and you zoom out, and you want to get back to where you were, or you're searching and you lose your spot and you had it on view. Nice thing about the previous view is that it stores a history of views for your session, so you can use that to get back to a place that you were at one time. So keep that in mind. Next, we're going to look at the select tool. The select tool allows you to select, basically in Surety is main use is to select a boundary, one of these yellow boundaries, and to use it as a field boundary. So if I have select highlighted and I click and place a red X, wherever a red X is placed, that means it's selected. So if I place a red X here, it means I have selected this outline, and you can take a quick look at that by looking at the Fsa Map, and it's going to show that with the acres on it. If I place another X, I'll have two selected. Now when I do it, it'll have both maps selected. So if you want to select multiple maps and use them, or multiple fields at one time and put them on the same map, that's one way of doing it. Also, if you select multiple fields and you hit the let's see, aerial with GPA form, it'll calculate the total acreage of all those. So if you want to do a job on several fields with the same tank mix, you can do that by using that select key. You can use these, let's say if you like the way they are, but you want to edit something, you can edit any of these boundaries by using what's called the Smart Select tool. And that's located under your drawing tools. So if you click on Smart Select and then click in any of these boundaries, it turns blue with red nodes. That means it's an edit mode. Now you can actually change what this looks like. You can move these around by left click and holding on those nodes. You can add a node by right clicking or in clicking the field. It'll add a node. You can also delete a node by left click, hold, and drag over another node. So play around with these tools a little bit. If you got some time, you can learn how to do the editing. You'll also see on a draw field, after you've drawn a field, you can also edit it if you need to. But once you've made changes to your field, once you've made changes to your field, it'll reflect change in acreage too. So as you're doing this, you'll see that over here, if your help is on off, you'll see that it'll show my current acres there. And so you can adjust these fields to get to help with that. So you can use these existing fields and edit them to change them, or you can draw your own. But once you've done, you can see from that you'll have the correct acres on there. So before we go on drawing, let's look at the Fsa map again, and a few things that you can do there. First, you can rename this if you want, by just highlighting it and typing in something new. If you're not seeing these menus over on the right when you create an aerial map or any form, what you should do then is go back to your tools options page, and if you're building maps to PDF directly, it will open up a map as a PDF, and of course you can quickly save it or print it or what have you. But if you want access to those options, on the right, you'll want to click Print Maps from a web page, and then hit Save if you have to make that change. Now, when I go click Fsa Map, you're going to see these menu options on the right. Now, when they print, they don't print. Only this area prints, or you save as a PDF. Only these areas save, but these will give you some extra options. One thing is map options. You can go and change the color of your field here. So if you want to make your field a different color, you can. You can change the text. Also, you can text size. You can make it a little bit bigger. You can. I don't know how good this color is going to be, but you can do that, and your text will be bigger on your map. So you can change those things here. Also, you can edit the field rate. So if you hit edit field, it simply takes you right back here. You can do your edit, apply changes, and it'll take you back to your form with the applied changes. And of course, you can view a PDF from here. You can actually email a PDF from here. You can save a PDF. You can print from here. So keep that in mind. If you're not interested in these boundaries, these white boundaries showing up, which are the other FSA fields, after you make your drawing or you don't need those boundaries on anymore, come over here, click FSA fields, then do Fsa map, and you'll see those boundaries have disappeared. And it comes to any other layer that you need to remove from here. So let's look at drawing. One nice thing is we got some very nice drawing tools within the Surety program. So we're going to look at this field here. One nice thing you can do is as you're drawing, you can pan. I'm going to show you that. And so you don't have to zoom way out and then draw your field. So if you have a very long field and you start to lose some of the detail take advantage of the background maps that are available, you can zoom in. So zoom into a corner, maybe one zoom factor. So you can see now that you have drawing capabilities. So you can come in and pick your starting point and start drawing. So so we don't have the help here, and if you want that on, what you need to do is reset that. So you hit select, hit drawing, and draw field, And if you have this on, this should show up here. And this is going to show you what you're doing as you're drawing. So first thing, you left click to hit your start point. And then as you move around your field, you left click to add nodes. And these are where lines change. Okay, now I need to keep going. What do I do here? Well, you can pan the map at that scale level without messing up your drawing. So just move off the node, and instead of just left click to create a node, you left click and hold. Left click and hold, and you can move your map in any direction. When you're done, release, and now you can just continue drawing. You can also zoom in and out using the scroll button too if you wish. Again, to pan, move away from your node, left click, hold, and move your map. As you get around corners, you just do smaller. Make sure you don't click too quick, because if you double click, it will close the field boundary. And then you know, if you're not very far along, you might need to start over. So make sure that you're aware of that. So take your time drawing the boundaries. Let's keep moving here. And I'm going to, just to speed things up here, I'm not going to get too clean here. Of course, though, if you want to take advantage of that, you can create very clean boundaries. Of course, it's going to give you more accurate acreages. Almost done here with this curve, and so on and so forth. And let's quickly finish this off here. I'm going to zoom out and just finish it off. So you can double click to snap the last nodes and finish it, or you can click on the start node with your end, and it'll also finish the boundary. Now that we have the boundary, you can see the total acres here, and you say, well, let's just make it, you can have the total acres. Or you look at this and you say, well, let's just make it an even 180 just for simplicity. You can type in 180 here and hit just. It will adjust the boundary, kind of just expands the boundary out. So now they have your field. You can, again, click the FSA, and it's going to show you your field. If you want an overview map, which will give you just the information here. As you can see with the overview map, you could zoom out. If you hit overview map, it's going to give you a nice overview of where you're at. You can set, whatever size overview you want. If you have multiple fields, it would show each one of those fields on there. If you want a nice map with the field centered, you can also do that. Now let's talk about one of the layers that we have that are useful, and that's called the Faa Obstructions, located in your layers list. You check it on here, and what that is, it's going to show you based on the Faa obstructions list. So if you noticed here when I turned it on, we had an obstruction right here near this field. It's a tower. You can set the color. I think it defaults to red, but you can set the color of your obstructions by clicking on Faa obstructions. Go to symbology. You can set the default color, outline width. You can show pins. You can also set the labels. Now we don't have the information available in a form. We're looking at changing that so you can pull up the information yourself. Right now, though, you can see you can create a label list. So under labels, you come down here, you go add label, and you pick what you want to show. So in this case, I got obstacle type, above ground height, above mean sea level height in feet. And so you can see those here. So I got obstacle type, the middle number is above ground height, lower number is above mean sea level height. And those, as you can see as we zoom out here, and see if there's any more. Here's one over here. As we get close to, we're near Fargo, you can see a transmission line here. I'm trying to find where they have some, where I know they have some windmills. I'm just trying to think here. Oh, I have to get outside the Red River Valley here. Let's look in this area here. I believe there's possibility some windmills in this area. So they do have the windmills in here, as you can see. One thing you can see as you can zoom out pretty far. So you do an overview map, you can have those features on, but you have to have them selected here. So keep that in mind. It's updated whenever they update it, so we keep it up to date. Another layer that might be of importance, so that'll be it for our drawing. As you can see, the drawing will stay there until you have deleted it right here underneath the beside the trash can. Again, you could draw multiple fields. So we've drawn this one. I could come in and draw another field by just starting a point. And if you come up with the Fsa map, you'll see I got with the separate acreages. Okay, so let's clear that out. Fewer things to look at, a few extra areas. If you have fields or areas within your territory that you would like to mark as either a void or specialty crops or things of that nature, since we do have something called the alternate bound, as a sensitive area layer, and that should be available for you on your forms. And what that basically does is you can select or draw an area out, and then if you click sensitive area, then, so I'm going to select this here. Oops, let's not draw. I want to select. You can also draw. I'm going to select this boundary here. If I hit sensitive area, it'll bring up a box, and you can enter, what's there, and then you can hit save. Okay. Now, if you your sensitive area layer is there, you can have those available. So if you create an Fsa map, they're going to show up on there. So you can create your own sensitive area map if you need to mark features that you out there that you need to avoid or be aware of. You can also click on that layer, and you can give it labels, or you can give it different colors. You can color by, and you can pick the crop name, for example. And if you click on that, you can see you can give different things different colors if you so wish. For more information on using that layer, give us a call. We can help you out with that. You can also create a surrounding crop layer, and that'll allow you to, if you need to keep track of some surrounding crops, it kind of works the same way as the sensitive area layer. As you notice, there were some other layers on there that you start showing up. We have the Wetlands layer, so if you need to know where wetlands are, we do have that layer available. You've seen some here. You see some in this field right here. That's controlled down here under the H2O under Other. We also have, in the case of Minnesota, we also have, for example, we have their Minnesota buffers. So if you get to an area in Minnesota, for example, where you need to stay so far away from an area, it's going to show you the outline of the area plus the distance. It's only special layer we got on the Minnesota side. If you're wondering where the field watch or if you're using field watch or drift watch, that is only available in the Surety Pro to be able to turn that on if you're a member. So let's finish up here by looking at individual forms. So we're going to select a field here. I'm just going to use the outline here, and we're going to take a look at a form. Now, two forms I usually use. One is aerial, one is aerial with GPA. Aerial, and you're basically the same forms except aerial GPA is gallons per acre. You can calculate your water load or use your water rate in there. So if you pick your field or draw your field, you click aerial with GPA, this will bring up your form. We have several things we're going to work on here. This company information is based on your account profile. If you have that filled out, that'll show up here. First one is date ordered. That's your date. It'll default to the current day, but that's based on when you open the form up the first time. You can enter some information in here. We do have some little databases that you can fill out. So if you have clients and you would like to create a little client database, we have the capability to do that. You would just click on the little pencil beside it. Opens up this, and then you hit the little plus, and you can type some stuff in there. If you add an address, you can add a phone in there if you wish. Those things, when you save them, and there they are. It's saved now. If you want to edit, you click on them. And you can hit the little pencil to edit, or you can delete. You can use those default also. Once they're in there, now if I come in here, I click that, it'll fill out any of the information I've put in there. So that owner operator, you can also use that list, whatever you put in there. Field ID, if you can enter a field ID if you need more than just legal or something like that. Crop, you can create your crop list. Simple as just crop name. This will show you your mapped acres. If you decide, well, let's just make it 125, you can do that here also, and that will reflect down here on your calculations. You can enter your airport information. Do that here. You got your airport. You can add a new airport. I'm going to add one here. And you enter your latitude, longitude. Hit save. Now you can come in here, choose your airport, and it'll show you the heading and distance to that field here once you pick your airport. And of course, then we have these, create the form to create your products. You can create your product list under product. A little pencil brings up the product database. You can add a new one, of course, by clicking here. You can also edit an existing product by using the little pencil, and it'll let you edit an existing product. You can also delete a product by selecting it and then hitting the delete. You can also do a default, but I recommend not selecting a default product because it'll automatically fill in everything for you here without without a little bug in the system on that. So once you got your product picked out, fill in the information. You can enter other information here, such as GPA, which is your gallons per acre. You can enter your rate. You can change whatever you're doing here as far as units, and it'll give you a total for that field. If you enter your GP here, it's going to show you, based on this, it'll give you your total water and your total load based on water and your product. So you can set some of those things in there. You can add field notes here. When you're finished, there's other databases. There's the Applicator Database, which you could create. Date of application. You can enter start time, end time, acres applied. There's weather information that you could fill out. We have it set for 2 applications here. If you need to stop for a day, or you got to come back to it, you didn't finish it, you got to come back at a different time to finish it. We have a couple ability to enter 2 application times. So that's the form. Aero GPA, fairly straightforward on that. If you need some customization of this form, give us a call. We can help you with that. When you're done, you can then, again, there's some map options like you saw before. You can then view this as a PDF by just clicking View PDF. And there's a PDF form. Oops, I closed it down. We can also email, and then you can save as PDF or print. Now we have some capabilities to work with a couple different controllers. Right now we're working with AgNav, DynaNav, SatLock, and TrackMap. If you want to learn how to import any of these logs, we're not going to go through that at this process, but if you have these logs, you want to bring them in and you want to put them on a map, Surety cannot save the log file. You can only have one log file at one time. If you need to save all your log files, bring them in, save them, that would be a Surety. You would have to upgrade to Surety Pro to be able to do that. But you can import a individual log and create the PDFs or print out the maps with that log on. If you need to do that, give us a call. Each one of these is a little bit different. As far as export, you can also export your boundaries if you want to bring them in, if your system is capable of doing that. Once you've drawn or selected your boundary, with SatLock, if you notice, we also had on the form, you could download that boundary right here by creating a job name and hitting download job. You can then download that and save that, and then you could, of course, take that over to your plain thumb drive, so you can do it from there. You can also do it from the map page. So if you go to export current map, there's several options. Of course, the SatLock is unique. You can export that here, same way, and then download. It'll be a file that you can then take, job file you can take to your plane. Some of those other, so if you have any other type, you'll be able to take shape files over into those systems, and they'll read those shape files. So those are the StatLog job file or shape file export to boundaries. Again, if you want to import a log file into Surety, give us a call here, contact us, and we'll walk you through that process. It's depending on the controller, it could take a little. It has a few steps to it. Once in, then again, you can display them on the map. You could then just turn them on and display them within Fsa Map or on your form. So that's Surety, basically in a nutshell. There are some of the features. Before your season starts, if it hasn't started already, I'd go in and play around a little bit, make some fields, draw some fields, practice drawing, working with the forms. Get your products on your form set up if you wish. That'd be a nice thing to do ahead of time. And play with the system to learn it a little bit. Take advantage of our support, of course, under help, or our wiki support, our how-to videos, and then of course on our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com and then search for AgriData Inc. It'll bring up our channel, which you can then bookmark, and it has all our latest and newest videos to help you out with functions, webinars, and other types of videos to help you with the program. Again, if you also need support, you can contact us by calling our main number. You can also contact me directly, and my email is john, John, .illich, ILLICH, at agridatainc.com. That's John, John, .illich, ILLICH, at agridatainc.com. We're glad to help you out. With that will be the end of our webinar for today. If you have any other questions, again, feel free to give us a call. Thank you.